how do you stand out, differentiate, and find the right audience for you that resonates with the messaging, but also now you're no longer competing with everybody else?
I think you can view it as a series of dials where if you turn enough of those dials, you become the obvious choice. What do I mean by that? One dial might be your experience. It's the all else being equal game is the way I describe it to my inner circle members. So all else being equal, the advisor with more experience tends to win. All else being equal, the financial advisor with more credibility tends to win. All else being equal, the financial advisor who has built the most rapport wins. The financial advisor who greatly understands the psychographics, greatly understands the demographics. All of these are individual dials that you can turn, which means if you don't have enough experience, you can make up for it by understanding your market. If you don't have enough credibility, truthfully, I would tell you, you can manufacture credibility. You get the credibility, right? But if you truly don't have it for whatever reason and your life is on the line and you got to do it, you got to get the clients, then you go deep into psychographics and demographics and rapport and all of the other things. All else being equal, the financial advisor who has better copy wins. All else being equal, the advisor who has a better lead magnet wins. So there are all sorts of dials and things that you can turn to tilt the odds in your favor. Is anything a guaranteed slam dunk every single time? No, it never has been, never will. But again, the all else being equal game. If you just get better in multiple areas with yourself and in your business, then you slowly increase the odds of someone becoming a client. Because all marketing boils down to these two things: the number of people who are exposed to your messages and the number of people who convert, the percentage of people who convert. That's all it is. So again, all else being equal, if you have 1,000 people at a 5% conversion rate, and I have the same 5% conversion rate, but I get in front of 2,000 people, I'm going to have double the business. If you increase your conversion rate and I don't, and we have the same number of people, you're going to win simply because you have increased those metrics. So that's how I like to think about it. There is no one size fits all. There is no secret, nothing like that. It's just getting better at multiple things over time.
Totally agree. And I'll ask you back to the question, which is that what people want to hear? Right?
No. To be fair, that's a good thing. If you're a financial advisor who actually genuinely wants to be successful, you should be grateful that that's a phenomenon because it means that your competitors aren't willing to do the work that you're willing to do. I love that. I love the fact with the AI stuff, I know that you want to talk about AI. I love knowing that so many people are dependent on AI. It makes me jump for joy, throw my hands in the air, shake my derriere. I love it because it means that these people are dependent on a machine to help them. And I know the cognitive atrophy is happening. I know that every day that goes by that they depend on these tools. According to real research done from places like Harvard, Yale, Princeton, MIT, UPenn, medical research, you can go to Google Scholar and just type in artificial intelligence cognitive atrophy and see the research for yourself. I know it's happening. So I know a year from now, their brains will have atrophied and mine, I have multiple brains now. They will not atrophy, right? My multiple brains will not have atrophied. That is a great thing. I know that. And it also reveals something about their personality. So Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich talked about one of the reasons why people don't get rich is because they're looking for something for nothing. And I strongly believe that. I've seen it in business, in personal life. I've seen it a lot. So these are cues, they're tells that the competitors or other creators or marketers or whatever you want to call them have that desire. So when they have shown their hands that they have this desire of something for nothing, and I know in my heart that I don't have that, I know I have the upper hand, which is great. So financial advisors should be thankful that other financial advisors don't want the real deal, that they want the quick, easy, bright, shiny object. It's a wonderful thing.
I like that. That's a good reframe on it. Brian Tracy wrote a book that I recall, Something for Nothing, and it gets into that concept pretty deeply.
It's a dangerous, dangerous trap. I have never had a full-time job in my life. I'm unemployable, right? So I was forced into entrepreneurship.
How old are you?
I am not going to disclose that. I like to keep that a mystery. I'm 59, right? Or 67. I have a wonderful skincare routine. I'll leave it at that. I do the red light therapy. I will say I look younger than I am. I think people would be kind of shocked.
Going back to something that you said about, I'm going to paraphrase you, marketing comes down to essentially visibility and conversion.
Correct.
I want to not challenge so much, but I want to explore that a little bit because to me, on the basics, I agree. But now what's under the hood? And especially when you're a financial advisor and you're asking someone to help them prepare for the next 20, 30 years of their life, secure their retirement income, their legacy, all these good things, foundationally, it has to come down to trust. You said all things being equal, experience, etc. To me, the one that I've really landed on and really try to help advisors with is the idea of trust. And the question that fascinates me, and the reason I got into helping them write and publish books, is that how do you take a complete stranger who you can help, who 2 weeks ago didn't know you existed, and get them to the point much more quickly than it typically takes to say, yes, I want you to be my advisor. And actually the person that I go to for answers, how do you establish that position of trusted advisor without it taking the months and the years and the decades sometimes that a lot of people tend to do? And so while on one level, I agree it's visibility and conversion, I think what's missing from that conversation is the trust piece, because all of these lead funnels and cold outreach methods, et cetera, if you only look at it through the lens of, hey, I need to send out more DMs, I need to send out more emails, I need to do all these different things, and I can take my conversion from 5% to 6% or whatever the numbers are, I think it misses, to me, a big piece of the game, which is how do you actually create trust? And if you can figure out how to create trust in advance of actually talking to someone, I call this pre-sold. The person comes in, you've never talked to them a day in your life, but they suddenly come in, they know enough about you, they're ready to move forward. That's the piece that fascinates me.